so I can be heard.
Do you want a man for president who's seasoned through and through, but that's a doggone season that he won't try something new? A man who's old enough to know
and young enough to do.
Well, it's up to you, it's up to you, it's strictly up to you. But it's Kennedy, 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 Kennedy for me.
Kennedy, 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 Kennedy.
Do you want a man with spirit who is not afraid to fight?
A man whose record shows that he will fight for what is right.
A loyal man who'll bring the job a fresh new point of view. Well, it's up to you, it's up to you, it's strictly up to you. 'Cause it's Kennedy, 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 Kennedy for me.
Kennedy, 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 Kennedy.
And do you deny to any man the right he's guaranteed to be elected president, no matter what his creed?
It's promised in the Bill of Rights to which we must be true.
So it's up to you, it's up to you, it's strictly up to you. And it's Kennedy, 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 Kennedy for me.
Kennedy, 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 Kennedy.
Do you like a man who answers straight, a man who's always fair?
We'll measure him against the others, and when you compare, you'll cast your vote for Kennedy and a change that's overdue. So it's up to you, it's up to you, it's strictly up to you. Yes, it's Kennedy, 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 Kennedy for me. Kennedy, 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 Kennedy,
Welcome, welcome, welcome from my humble second bedroom here in the Saucon Valley, part of the Lehigh Valley in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, part of these United States. So far, still, sort of, yeah, mostly. North American continent, Western Hemisphere on this planet Earth. The only one we have. Third rock from the sun in the Terran solar system. Wait, Terran solar system? Yeah, Milky Way galaxy. I lost track of my own opening. Oh, that's not too good. Not too good. Lost track of my own opening. Milky Way galaxy. This is TKE tonight and the Kennedy Effect live with you for the 5th of June 2025. There's already an ad playing on YouTube. We are getting popular, don't worry. We're getting popular. YouTube would not be running ads during my program if we weren't getting some traction, if you know what I mean. And it's exciting, actually. It means we're getting somewhere, right? We are live right now on the Facebook pages of Ghost Claw Productions, Our Revolution Pennsylvania, the TCP Media Group. Yup, that's the one. That's the one. Thank you. That'll help probably with the chest pains too, I should think. Yep, it's a chest pain day. It's a chest pain day, everybody. Ghost Claw Productions, Our Revolution Pennsylvania, the TCP Media Group, and of course, Hot101.net. We are live at our home group Facebook page, That Other Side of Information. I have not changed the name yet, but I'm strongly considering it. Very funny, Donna. How much popcorn has everyone eaten today? If you haven't, you can start. The games have begun. Let the games begin. We are live also on 2 YouTube channels. The YouTube channel, of course, for Ghost Claw Productions Radio. Easy for me to say. And that other side of information as well. And the radio portion of our program, of course, blasts around the globe via hot101.net. Our name is our web address, hot101.net. You can listen on any kind of device that can connect to the internet, and you can do it 100% for free. hot101.net. Our name is our web address. But you can also use the YouTube channels. Not the YouTube channels, the apps. Oh my goodness, what a start to the program. You can also use the apps, Apple App Store for Apple devices, Google Play Store for Android devices, and the TuneIn radio app for all types of devices. You can tell Alexa to play hot101.net. GCPR Live, Ghost Claw Productions Radio.live, GCPR.live. Go to our website and learn everything you ever wanted to know about our station and more. Learn about the shows, the hosts, merchandise for sale there, news stories, and you can use our Android app, fully functioning Android app with an Apple app on the way. Let's get into the fun, shall we? This, I hope, will be a fun show, because what we're watching now is what I believe to be manufactured drama, combined with the fact that both of these men have egos the size of the planet, if not larger, and egos that consistently, constantly, without fail, need to be satiated. They need to be told how great they are. If you've ever seen a Trump cabinet meeting, you know that that's pretty much how it goes. Every member of the cabinet, they go around the table and they praise dear leader. Well, I think you have 2 men, quote unquote, air quotes, 2 men who have the same level of ego, the same level of self-importance, the same level of self-guided sense of indispensability, that the planet literally can't function without them. Donna beat me to the point in the Facebook chat. She beat me to the point. I think much of this story is manufactured because they need and want to divert our attention from the fact that the big brutal bill is now in the Senate. They need to try to divert our attention from the fact that we're willing to let 40 million people have their health care either severely deprived or taken from them, including 7 million children. They need to divert us from the fact that they're willing to let 4 million children go hungry. They need to divert us from the fact that this tax cut bill will mean trillions of new debt, and it will be the largest transfer of wealth from the bottom 99% to the top 1% in the history of the planet. In the entire history of humanity, so long as there have been money, and there hasn't always been money, but so long as there's been money, so long as there's been such a thing as taxes, the single largest transfer of wealth in the history of the planet is in the big brutal bill. Yeah, we know about the 2.5 trillion in tax cuts, with over 80% of that going to the top 1%. But that's a 10-year long bill. through the course of the bill, it will mean more along the lines of $6 to $8 trillion in a transfer of wealth from the bottom to the top. Reverse Robin Hood. Now look, two immense, distorted, warped, psychopathic egos like Trump and Musk climbing into the gladiator ring and having a go at each other. It's fabulously entertaining. It's a reality show. If there's one thing that Donald Trump knows how to do, it's how to do a reality show. And he's doing one right in front of us. But is he doing it because this is actually how he feels? Because he cares? Because he's butthurt? Or to divert our attention from the fact that they're about to steal everything from us? That they're willing to literally steal people's ability to feed themselves, to clothe themselves, to house themselves. I suppose you don't home yourself, you house yourself. Unless I'm grammatically incorrect, somebody's welcome to correct me, of course, as always, by the way. This is why you have a travel ban. This is why you have a very openly public fight with Musk. Because they don't want you to remember that they're about to take damn near everything from you. And they don't think it's much more complicated than that. Now look, it's 8:12 Eastern Time. We're here till 9. I'm going to do everything I can to fill this hour, because that's my job as a professional radio host. But really, we're already done, in a way. We've given you the important facts and figures about the big brutal bill. It is a spending and tax bill. Massive, massive new government spending and massive, massive tax cuts that cannot and will not be paid for. Let me say that again. Let me say it a little better. It is a spending bill, but it is also a tax cut bill. It is a transfer of wealth bill. It is a bill that cannot and will not be paid for. It is a bill that will not and can not be paid for. It is the most massive transfer of wealth from the bottom to the top in human history. And that's all we've seen since the onset of the Reagan era, is a transfer of wealth from the bottom to the top. Over $55 trillion worth. The big brutal bill will push that into the 60s of trillions of dollars taken from the bottom 99% and given to the top. It is a transfer of wealth bill. It's intentional. It's designed to be brutal. It is designed to punish those who are not billionaires, not even just millionaires or multimillionaires, which sounds like pocket change now. It rewards billionaires for being billionaires. And how did they become billionaires? Largely because of the policies since the onset of the Reagan era in the first place. When is enough enough? As Ted Kennedy said on the floor of the Senate. How much more do you want? When does the greed stop? We're going to cover this open public slap fight between these two psychopaths. Because it is news. But I think it might be manufactured news. The more I think about it, the more I lean that way, that it might be manufactured news. And let's remember what the split is here. It's an interesting, there's actually multiple splits, but there's really two massively interesting splits that are happening here. The big brutal bill is in fact that, brutal. It's brutal to the 99%. It's brutal to everybody except the richest in this country. And Trump wrote it. He's behind it. Him and his people. Project 2025. And here's where one of the ridiculous splits comes. Musk doesn't think it's brutal enough. He doesn't think it hurts you enough. He doesn't think it rips medical care from enough people. He doesn't think it starves enough children. He wants to starve more kids. He wants to rip medical care away from more people. He wants to destroy unions even further. He wants even more tax cuts than the trillions that's already in this monster. He doesn't think it's brutal enough. But at the same time, he's whining that it takes away the tax credits for electric vehicles. I would say the same thing to Mr. Musk that I would say to a Midwest farmer who voted for Trump 3 times. What did you think was going to happen? I would sit on my porch eating popcorn, watching the farmer starve, and saying, what did you think was going to happen? What did you expect to happen when you cast this vote? What did you think was coming? They told you what they were going to do. Project 2025 told you what they were going to do. Mike Jackson mentions the fact that we don't face is there is no wealth, only debt. All nations on earth are so in debt to one another that it can't be paid back. He's right. This $37 trillion U.S. debt is a number. It's just a number. In fact, there's a very credible monetary theory that the U.S. Mint could mint a platinum coin worth, and just say it's worth $37 trillion and pay the debt off. But of course, this is totally disconnected from the plentiful resources we have to feed, clothe, and shelter everyone alive. We actually do. They're just not equally distributed, are they? The 3 richest people in the country have the same wealth as the bottom 60%. 8 of the richest people on the planet have the same wealth as the bottom 1/2 of the planet. A great hello and welcome to Elijah Watkins, and I hope I'm saying that correctly. Thanks for supporting real human experiences. Let me say to you, if you'll allow me, I am no better than any of you. I'm no smarter than any of you. I might be just a tad better looking. I'm kidding. I'm not. But I'm good at this. But we all have different experiences. I don't know what Elijah does for a living. Could be a librarian, could be an auto mechanic, could be a machinist, could be a teacher, could be an airline pilot. All things which I do not know as much about. But I do know politics. I do know history, and I do know radio and television. Hence, here we be. But I'm no better than any of you. I'm no smarter than any of you. I'm sure as hell not wealthier than any of you. Just a guy trying to do the right thing. I am part of the working poor. I am a member of the working poor. I will have to have a look. That's a big comment, sir. I will have to have a look at that. And perhaps we can chat about that on a different evening. Let's get into the news, shall we? 8:21. 21 minutes after the top of the hour. Trump and Musk's relationship flames out just as intensely and publicly as it started. These are two alpha males. These are two transactional relationship individuals, meaning that they maintain a relationship with anybody so long as it benefits them, and to a point where, once it gets to a point where it doesn't benefit them, the relationship is no longer worth their effort. Except this time, they're both pissing in public. They're having a peeing contest in public. There's a visual that you probably didn't want, and it's one that now I'm thinking of it, I didn't want it. So I probably shouldn't have even said it. But that is what we're witnessing. Mike is actually correct. I told you way back that Trump and Musk couldn't last because their egos were too big and they tick each other off eventually. You are 100% correct. You did say that. You absolutely did. I think I may have pushed back on you with the fact that they would maintain a relationship so long as it benefited each of them. Well, Musk has gotten to a point where he thinks it doesn't benefit him anymore. But yes, Mike, you did say it. And with all credit, you did say it. You absolutely did. Let me... I'm trying to find the actual article. All I have is live updates, and that's not always the easiest thing to read. Trump threatens to sever Musk's government contracts as stock prices fall. Trump, so this is from the Associated Press, and it is Sam Burdett, Bridget Brown, Bernard McGee, and Curtis Yee. And it is constantly being updated, so it's going to be very, very difficult for me to read it. But I'm going to try to give you the headlines, I guess, out of it, or the meat of it if I can. Trump threatened to cut Musk's government contracts as their fractured alliance escalated into a public feud today. I'm going to read and kind of change the wording a bit of the story, not because it isn't written well, but it's written a bit in sound bites because it is being constantly updated. So I will interpret here a little bit, but I will not change the meaning of the story, because the authors of the story wouldn't want that to happen, and I don't want it to happen. It's not fair to them. So let me start again from the beginning. So the headline is: Trump threatens to sever Musk's government contracts as stock prices fall. Follow the latest on Trump and the administration. This is from the Associated Press. Let me make sure I always give my credits where they are due. I did not write this article. I'm not that good of a writer. I'm not a writer, really, at all. Yeah, let's we'll skip that comment. Yeah, I got you, Mike. We're going to get to that in just a sec. Again, the authors edited and written Sam Burdett, Bridget Brown, Bernard McGee, and Curtis Yee. President Donald Trump threatened to cut Elon Musk's government contracts as their fractured alliance escalated into public feud Thursday, today. The world's richest man responded in kind, saying he'd decommission a space capsule used to take astronauts and supplies to the International Space Station. Shares of Musk's electric vehicle maker Tesla fell 14%, knocking about $150 billion off the company's market valuation, which, in my humble opinion, was always largely overrated to start with. And that is the update that I have. I was looking for... I thought there was more than that. I thought there was more than that. I seem to be having trouble finding more. Musk threatens to decommission a key space station link for NASA. This is written by the Associated Press. No particular individual is credited. As President Trump and Musk argued on social media today, the world's richest man threatened to decommission a space capsule used to take astronauts and supplies to the International Space Station. After Trump threatened to cut government contracts given to Musk's SpaceX rocket company and his Starlink internet satellite services, Musk responded via Twitter that SpaceX will begin decommissioning its Dragon spacecraft immediately. It's unclear how serious Musk's threat was, but the capsule, developed with the help of government contracts, is an important part of keeping the space station running. NASA also relies heavily on SpaceX for other programs, including launching its science missions and later this decade, returning astronauts to the surface of the moon. SpaceX is the only U.S. company capable right now of transporting crews to and from the space station using its 4-person Dragon capsules. Boeing's Starliner capsule has flown astronauts only once. Last year's test flight went so badly that 2 NASA astronauts had to hitch a ride back to Earth via SpaceX in March, more than 9 months after launching last June. Starliner remains grounded as NASA decides whether to go with another test flight with cargo instead of a crew. SpaceX also uses a Dragon capsule for its own privately run missions. The next one of those is due to fly next week on a trip chartered by Axiom Space, a Houston company. Cargo versions of the Dragon capsule are also used to ferry food and other supplies to the orbiting lab. Investors dump Tesla on bet Trump may lash out at Musk through his car company. Investors bought hundreds of billions of dollars of Tesla stock after Trump was elected on a bet that politics were more important than profits. In 3 hours today, they learned yet again how dangerous that gamble could be. Shares of Musk's electric vehicle maker plunged more than 14% in a stunning wipeout as investors dumped holdings amid a bitter war of words between the president and the world's richest man. By the end of the trading day, $150 billion of Tesla's value had been erased, more than what it would take to buy all the shares of Starbucks and hundreds of other big publicly traded U.S. companies. Let's not forget that, well, first off, it shows you that Tesla is dramatically overvalued evaluated. When a drop of 14% wipes out 150 billion, that means that would, if you extrapolate the math out, it would mean that it's an over $1 trillion company. Does anybody think Tesla is a $1 trillion company? Does anybody think, if somebody offered to buy Tesla today, do you really think it would cost $1 trillion? The article also points to the fact that the stock market is a gamble. It's a rich man's game. When investors can spend $150 billion buying the stock and then lose it all, let's also remember that Musk is not just the world's richest man. He is the Republican Party and Donald Trump's largest donor. He spent over $250 million directly into the Trump campaign last fall in the 2024 election cycle. And that doesn't count the amount of money he spent on congressional races, state races, state legislative races. The $20 million he spent on the Supreme Court race in Wisconsin. He has supposedly already dumped money into the governor's race in New Jersey, the gubernatorial race in New Jersey, and Virginia. The $250 million he spent was just on the Trump campaign. We don't even know exactly how much money he spent on the other races. So this spat is not just bad for both of these quote-unquote men. It's really bad for the former political party known as Republicans. Musk is their largest donor. Donna mentions in the chat that Musk stated today that had he not bought the election for Trump, Trump would not have won. I think he might very well be correct. And what does that say about money in politics? Back to the article. The disagreement started over the president's budget bill, then quickly turned nasty. After Musk said that Trump would not. Wow, really bad grammar. I found a huge grammar error here at the Associated Press. Where are the editors? After Musk said that Trump would not have gotten elected without his help, Trump implied that he may turn the federal government against Musk's companies, including Tesla and SpaceX. The easiest way to save money in our budget, billions and billions of dollars, is to terminate Elon's governmental subsidies and contracts, Trump wrote on Truth Social. I was always surprised Biden didn't do it. Trump, every time he has to try to prove how big his penis is, he compares himself to Joe Biden. I guess Joe Biden wasn't that bad of a president if the only president you can compare yourself to is Joe Biden. The drop on Thursday partially reversed a big run-up in the 8 weeks since Musk confirmed that Tesla would be testing an autonomous driverless robotaxi service in Austin, Texas this month. Investors fear Trump might not be in such a rush to usher in a future of self-driving cars in the U.S., and that could slam Tesla. So much of its real business selling electric cars is struggling now, and so it needs the promise of a new age of driverless cars to be realized, and fast. Quote, the whole goal of robotaxis is to have them in 20 or 25 cities next year, said Wedbush Securities analyst Dan Ives, one of Tesla's biggest fans, but now worried. Quote, "If you start to heighten the regulatory environment, that could delay the path." He added, "There is a fear that Trump is not going to play Mr. Nice Guy." Does Trump ever play Mr. Nice Guy? Has he ever played Mr. Nice Guy? One thing you actually have to credit Trump for, in a very strange way. I do not agree with his actions. I do not justify his actions. He always goes for the win. And he will do whatever he has to do to win. He does not always win. But he never fails to go after the win. And he will do anything necessary to get it. He will play any style to win. If you watch any kind of sporting event, there's always different styles with which teams play. The best teams can play multiple styles. Trump will use any possible style he can think of to win. You have to, in a very, very odd way, very strange way, a non-supportive, non-justification type of way, almost congratulate, or at least give Trump credit that he goes for the win, no matter what. One of the things that young people in particular will tell you that they don't like about the Democratic Party is that we don't go for the win. We don't do what's necessary to go for the win. Trump always goes for the win. No matter how ridiculous the things he has to say, no matter what he has to do, no matter whom he has to sue, no matter what laws he has to break or flaunt, he goes for the win. So for this particular investor to say that he's worried that Trump might not play nice guy, well, no flippin' kidding, you fool. Here's the best thing about this public spat of theirs, is the way it has made rich people so nervous about their investment portfolios. How does it feel to be nervous about money like the rest of us? How does it feel to have so much of your net worth wiped out in one day? Ask the rest of us struggling with 401ks how we felt about it. You didn't give a flying you-know-what then, did you? Because you always somehow figured out a way to make money out of it. Well, now you're losing. And I'm bloody flipping happy to watch it. I hope the lot of you go broke. I hope you learn what it's like to starve and lose your homes. $150 billion in value lost in one day. You know what's the only bad thing about that? It wasn't 160 billion or 200 billion or 500 billion, or that the whole flippin' company didn't shut down. And yeah, there's real middle class people who work for Tesla, and they're going to suffer if the company closes. But I sure as hell won't lose one wink of sleep for Musk. Not a damn wink of sleep. I enjoy watching the two of them tear at each other like a couple of children in the schoolyard fighting over a pretty girl, or fighting over lunch money. Let me return back to the article. Trump's threat to cut government contracts seems targeted more to another of Musk's businesses, SpaceX, than his car company. The privately held rocket company has received billions of dollars for sending astronauts and cargo to the International Space Station, providing launches and doing other work for NASA. The company is currently racing to develop a mega rocket for the space agency to send astronauts to the moon next year. A subsidiary of SpaceX, the satellite internet company Starlink, appears to also have benefited from Musk's once close relationship with Trump. On a trip with Trump to the Middle East last month, Musk announced that Saudi Arabia had approved Starlink for aviation and maritime use. Though it's not clear how much politics has played in the role, a string of other recent deals in Bangladesh, Pakistan, India, and elsewhere has come as Trump has threatened tariffs and sent diplomats scrambling to please the president. One measure of SpaceX success, a private financing round followed by a private sale of shares in recent months reportedly valued it at $350 billion, up an estimated $210 billion from just 1 year ago. Now, all that is possibly in danger. Tesla shares got even a bigger lift from Musk's close relationship with Trump, initially, at least. After the presidential election in November, investors rushed into the stock, adding more than $450 billion to its value in just a few weeks. The belief was that the company would see big riches as Trump eased regulatory oversight of Tesla. They also were betting that the new administration would embrace Musk's plans for millions of cars on U.S. roads without drivers behind the wheel. After hitting an all-time high on December 17th, the shares retreated as Musk's time as the head of the government cost-cutting fake agency led to boycotts and a hit to Tesla's reputation. They've recently popped higher again after Musk vowed to focus more on Tesla and its upcoming driverless taxi launch. But now, investors aren't so sure. A worry that has translated into big paper losses in Tesla stock held by Musk personally, down $20 billion just today. Can anyone imagine, in all honesty, can anyone imagine losing $20 billion in a day? Still being worth about $400 billion. Do we not see how obscene this is? How gross it is? How disgusting it is? How anti-democratic it is? Small d democratic. How anti-constitution it is. How anti-Declaration of Independence it is. How anti-Christian it is. How anti any faith it is. If I lose $20 in a day, I'm freaking out. Like if I literally dropped a $20 bill out of my wallet or my pocket, or if I had to spend $20 I was not planning on spending, I would be absolutely freaking out. Literally losing my patience and my consciousness. Musk lost $20 billion today in his personal worth. But he's still worth $400 billion. It's obscene. It's absolutely obscene. It's disgusting on its face. Dear God, are we no better than this? Are we no better than this? Do we not deserve better than this? There has to be better. There has to be better. There has to be a better way of running a country than this. Remember the old days of democracy? Remember the old days of unions and the New Deal? When nearly 60% of the country was middle class. Not just self-identified middle class, but actually really middle class. 60%. Remember that? Remember when we had the finest public education system on the planet? When there was no student debt? When there was no medical debt? When there was no auto loan debt? When there was, for all intent and purpose, no homeless problem? Remember that? It wasn't really all that long ago. 50 years? If you're 50 years or older, you remember a better time in this country. A much more fair time. Not perfect. We have never been perfect. We will probably never be perfect. Jefferson's words. A more perfect union. The presumption that we should always seek perfection, but we'll never reach it. If the big brutal bill passes, we're going to be looking at $65 trillion in wealth transfer from the bottom to the top 1%. 55 trillion's already been done. It might be more than that. And that's just the income tax cuts. It doesn't take into account the tax credits for shipping jobs overseas, the corporate tax cuts, the capital gains tax cuts, the tax cuts on inheritance and estates. You lump all that in there, that wealth transfer might be 70 trillion, 80, 90. I honestly don't know. And I'm happy to admit that I don't. 267-227-9189. We got about 5+ minutes for phone calls. 267-227-9189. 267-227-9189. I did want to try to read a little bit of this because I do think it's a bit interesting. The other big story, of course, today was the travel bans. This is from the Associated Press, written by Graham Dunbar. U.S. President Donald Trump often says the 2026 World Cup and 2028 Los Angeles Olympics are among the events he is most excited about in his second term. Yet there is significant uncertainty regarding visa policies for foreign visitors planning trips to the U.S. for the two biggest sporting events in sport. Trump's latest travel ban on citizens from 12 countries added new questions about the impact on the World Cup and the Summer Olympics, which depend on hosts opening their doors to the world. I'm trying to get to the screen. Let me just click on it 700 times because, of course, the first time I click it never works. Randall, go ahead.
Yeah, did you see my comment in the chat? the last comment I made?
I see every comment in the chat. Just doesn't mean I can comment on it, but I did see every comment in the chat. Yes, I did see your comment on the chat, which I will read for everybody right now if the chat repopulates itself, since it disappeared from my screen. There it goes. Oh my God. You know what? You explain it.
Okay. There was an AP article today that I don't really know if it's because of the Trump tariffs or if he did another executive. He apparently did a lot of executive orders today that I have not caught up on exactly what they were all about.
Well,
so
sure,
maybe it's an executive order, but in any case, it makes it so expensive to get the rare earth magnets made in China that are absolutely an absolute must-have to run an EV engine. And the three major auto companies here, GM, Ford, and even though it's foreignly owned, Chrysler.
Right. Stellantis.
Yes, Stellantis, right. But it's foreignly owned.
Correct.
Anyway.
Yep.
Anyway, the three manufacturers are going to they're going to assemble their engines here, and they're going to send them to China so they can get the rare earth magnets needed to run the engines. And then they're going to ship them back, and by doing that, they're going to bypass either the tariff or an executive order that says you can't import rare earth Chinese magnets. And I'm not sure about either one of those. It's just, there was a thing at the bottom. How many American jobs will be lost because of this? He's not bringing back factory jobs. He's losing factory jobs, union, high-paying jobs in this country, and it just really PS's me.
Here's the tough question, though. How many of his followers believe or know or care to know what you just said? Because what you said is 100% correct. But how many of these poor people believe it or know it or care to know it? Sadly, not enough. Because they don't believe it. Just because you say it, they don't believe it, even though what you're saying is completely true. And that's the sad part of it. Would you agree with that or not agree with it? Or
I would agree with that, yes. And it's just like, our governor, Chappelle, came out today and said the Medicare cuts would close down 90% of rural hospitals in this state. And the majority of people around the world, you might not understand, but Pennsylvania is predominantly rural. Mountainous.
There's certainly more of it that's rural than not. Yes.
I mean, area-wise, it's rural.
Yeah.
And if all the rural hospitals, that one of the ways they are able to survive is through Medicaid payments, and it's done away with. Those rural hospitals were closed, and that means, like, you get a heart attack, a stroke, you're 2-3 hours away from a hospital. This is what he is doing to us. He is killing us off in this country with his village idiot stupidity. And yeah. All right, I'm going to let you go because you guys finish the show up, bro. Okay?
No worries. Thank you, my friend. I hope you're feeling okay.
Oh, man. I've been inside most of the day. I
smoke outside.
Turn AC on because of the down here. It's not just the Canadian wildfire smoke. The ozone and here is just off the scale.
You're right. You're absolutely right. We were out walking the dog earlier.
And ozone pollution, folks, you don't know, mostly from gas, diesel-powered vehicles.
You're right. You're right.
All right,
thank you, my friend.
I'm out of talking to you. All right, I love you guys.
You take care of yourself. I want to recognize some folks in the chat. I think it's pronounced Chuckles from YouTube. Night Shift Chuckles tuning in. Thank you for tuning in. I hope I said it right. If I didn't, yell at me. Tell me I did it wrong. Michael Pruitt mentions that the Pee Wee Herman documentary is fantastic. No worries, man. No worries. You can name that. We're at the end of the program anyway. I've wanted to see it. I just haven't sat and watched it. April Haynes, good evening, and good evening to you as well. Tumas619, Saturday is... Oh, yeah, okay. Now, I think the Kennedy Effect and TKE Tonight just got its very first Super Chat donation of $5 from Hunter78. Greetings. I'm not sure what you're asking me, to be honest with you. Try to clarify that for me, and I'll be happy to answer your question if I can. I must be honest, I don't know what you're asking. But I do believe it's our first Super Chat. When you go to the Ghost Claw Productions Radio YouTube channel, you have an opportunity to subscribe for free. You'll know every time that we're on the air. You can watch all of our videos, all that fun stuff, but you can also be a super chatter or a super subscriber and donate to keep the lights on here at GCPR. Looks like Hunter78 has done exactly that. That would be mine for this program, Super Chatter. So I will always try to remember the name Hunter78. In fact, I should write it down. In fact, I'm going to write it down because I happen to have a piece of paper right in front of me. And I'm going to write it down so I don't forget. And it is HUNTER78, $5. And I will never forget it because now I have written it down. So thank you. It means a lot to us. You're our very first. And your question is important to me if I understood what it is that you're asking me. And to be quite honest with you, I don't. Which I'm not necessarily happy about. But I don't understand what you're asking. Following us on hot101.net, the music returns. Superplex Party is from 9 p.m. on GCPR.live. We return to you on Sunday from 6 p.m. That's the plan, is for us to be back with you Sunday from 6 for the big show. Well, look, every show's a big show. But like the really long big show. The big show, the long show, the more than 1 hour show we're supposed to do on Sundays. So for everyone at hot101.net, for DJ Lex, DJ Earl, and the entire hot101.net family, the music returns immediately after I sign off, and we return to the airwaves here at hot101.net Sunday, this coming Sunday, he's forgetting what day Sunday is, the 8th, from 6 p.m., and we look forward to seeing you there. Knox Landing in the house. Thank you, sir. We look forward to seeing you then Sunday from 8 p.m. here at hot101.net. The music returns to you, Hot 101, right now. For those of you at GCPR, for Thomas, Superplex Party starts immediately after we sign off. Superplex Party from 9 p.m. here at GCPR. So for Thomas and Gilbert and Gambit and Pastor Best and Pastor Clinton and George and everyone, Cole Goodman, Ben, anybody that I might be forgetting, I probably am, at GCPR, Superplex Party starts right now. We return to you Sunday from 6 p.m. with the Kennedy Effect Sunday long extended program. Superplex Party starts right now. For those of you on our video streaming platforms, thank you so very, very much. very much for being here tonight. And I will never forget Hunter for our first $5 donation. It means everything. So glad for all the people that are watching on YouTube and all the people that have chosen to join us and give us a chance. Give us a chance. Give us a check out. Maybe you love the show. Maybe not. But you are always welcome here, and we hope that you will continue to tune in and be part of our program. So for everyone on our video streaming platforms, we've done about all the damage we can do for one night. For George and Lynn and Kristen and Daisy the dog and, of course, April Riddick. Until we see you Sunday from 6 p.m., please take care of yourselves and each other. We'll see you Sunday, 6 p.m. for the Kennedy Effect.